Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with his good friend Dion from Dion Talk. How you doing, buddy?
Howdy, doing great. I'm excited about round two.
Yeah, and this really is 100% your topic. Full credit to you. I think this is an amazing conversation. And this is something that Matt actually might want to think about. But let's have you and I do this and say, what would have changed in our life if we had worked one more year? What do you think? It's actually an interesting riddle to play with. What do you think would change if you worked another year?
I think the mistake a lot of people make when they think about retiring is they focus on the math.
Mm,
Like
yeah.
when we buy a rental,
Yeah.
math is step one. The first thing we do, I want to make sure I'm not going to lose money. Will it get a yield, anything like what I'm looking at? And
Yep.
so most of the content on YouTube is how to run the numbers because that's what people want to see. When it comes to retiring early, it's how do I find my freedom number?
Mhm.
What multiplier of that would I want before I retire? So if people talk about working an extra year, they think I would have income for a longer period of time. I'd be able to invest more. I might have a higher number in freedom, but that's just math.
Yeah.
And when it comes to retiring, a lot of people forget that when we look at a rental, we start with math and then we go, so it will get the yield I want.
Hmm.
But are there washer dryer hookups in the unit, or am I going to have high tenant turnover? Is there a garage or a carport? Is it on a noisy street? Is it in a bad neighborhood I wouldn't want to invest in? Like all of the things we look at that don't get as much attention because so many people focus on math. Retiring is the same. Everybody is talking about their freedom number and their income coming in. And a lot of people that aren't watching this content are focused on pension, social security, and a retirement account. Like those are
Yeah.
the three things that people think of when they think of retirement.
Yeah.
So I could have retired 4 years ago. And I don't know that my standard of living would be different if I retired then. My ability to invest is more now.
Hmm.
So if I added another year, I think I would have more money to invest. I don't think it would impact standard of living.
Yeah, this is just such an interesting to play with. I'm actually going to take the other side just because I can. I'm going to talk about what I would have lost. Right. So I step out of the rat race at 45. And, and again, I've always admitted I thought I'd work till I was 50. When I started buying real estate at 30, I thought I would die at work. I mean, that was what my father taught me, right? Work until you're dead. They're going to have to carry me out, right? I thought that was being a hero. I thought working a job or W-2 until you died was what dads did. That's what he taught me, right? Just keep selling hours forever. At some point, I realized that, this real estate thing is working. Retiring early is a real possibility. I set the number at 50. Events happened. Um, I had the opportunity at 45 to take it up. For me, it's actually, uh, I would have lost a year of, every day is Saturday. Um, because again, I think when you asked this question to me or suggested this topic, for me, it's like I would have lost that whole year of travel, right? Of doing other things, of building experience. Life is about being happy and about experiences. While I loved my job and I've always said I would have done it for free, once I retired and I got my mind right, I've already talked about being depressed for 90 days. It's as awesome as people say it is. I have to tell you, being financially free at a young and healthy age is amazing. You never know when your health is going to go. These people that talk about work to your 60 because your health might go. How the hell does that make sense?
I just had that comment. Like
I
it's
mean,
beautiful.
why? I mean, so one of my favorite trips, at least currently, I hope to blow this one out of the water soon, was Olivia and I went to Greece, the Greek islands. We were in our 30s at the time, so healthy and active, and it was a cruise. It was a high-end cruise, so the average age on the boat was like 65. Right, we were clearly like the youngest adults, and some people were in their 80s, and this was their lifetime cruise coming to these Greek islands. And if you've ever been to the Greek islands, let's just say it's not handicap friendly. It's cobblestone and cracks, and the stuff was built hundreds of years ago. So to see these people struggle and not get to experience what they had hoped to for decades because they physically can't get up this 200-yard hill safely is tragic. I saw regret in these people's faces that I can't forget today. You're 80 years old. You worked in your job forever. This is the thing that you always wanted to do. And now you can't go see the Coliseum, or you can't go in the Coliseum. Or I think it was in Olympia where they held the first Olympics. It's not a track. It's like a dirt field where the first 100-yard dash was, or I think it was 100 meters back then. I ran that just to say I ran. And like these 80-year-olds, they couldn't even climb down to get to there. I not only climbed down, but I ran the damn thing. It was a horrible time, but I did it. Meaning horrible, like I'm slow, but I've done things. You got to do them early, folks. This working 40 hours for 40 years to live on 40% and hope you're healthy enough. I got to tell you, if that's your path, go for it. No judgment. I hope you're happy, but there is a better way. And when I think about what an extra year would have meant, it would have been a year lost. Because again, even today, 5 years later, I could go back and get a job. Will I be able to step into the VP roles that I had when I left? Absolutely not. But I could get a job. So for me, once you get to that number and you add some padding, because again, as I found out, freaking insurance is wicked expensive, way more than I thought it was going to be. So again, having that cushion and pad there. But you got to also find that passion. So I would have lost out on writing one rental in it. I mean, I couldn't imagine working another year. So it's a non-starter for me. It's all the things I would have lost, not gained.
So one of the things I really like about sharing your content with people is it's not always just about one rental at a time and reaching financial freedom. One of the things that actually helped me retire this year, instead of waiting another year, was hearing your story of you were 45, planned on working another 5 years, had a really bad day. Life changes in 45 minutes and you go back home.
Yep.
So you will remember your last day like that for the rest of your life.
Oh, absolutely.
You might have been financially stable and free at 44.
Probably.
At the top of your game, extremely happy to go to work every day. You said, I love my job so much I would do it for free. I have a twist on that. I love my job so much. It was the only one I would ever do for money.
I love that.
So I was at work, had the best day, told you this story, cinched a deal that was like a 2-month problem where I had to brush up on skills, meet with attorneys, got this meeting, knocked it out of the park. And I thought, if I work another year, I might have a really bad day like Mike did, and I might quit and then remember this job is the one I had to walk away from because it sucked. If I walk away today, I will live the rest of my life remembering the home run, the great team I was working with, the using all of my skills from a decade of experience at that company. So your experience helped me have a good experience.
Yeah, I got to tell you, going out like Dion is much better. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. Going out on your terms, because let's be clear, my bad day, it wasn't really my terms. We had a bunch of things go on. They didn't like me. I didn't like him. It was going to go bad. And we just said, you know what? This isn't going to work for either of us. Let's set up a severance package. I say good things. You say good things. I'm out of here. And it was, to call it 45 minutes is long. It was, it might've been 17 minutes, but it was a bad day. That you're right. I still remember walking into the conference room going, oh, I know what's coming now. So yeah, it's much better to go out on your terms. So I think that's awesome.
They probably saw your position and said, okay, so he's leaving. How do we do this?
Oh yeah.
When I left, it was a shock to both sides. I didn't go to work planning on really quitting.
Yeah, I remember I talked to you that day. That I talked to you like 10 minutes after you hung up.
Yep.
And you're like, I think this is going to be the day. I'm like,
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, you said think. And I'm like, that's weird. And then you told the story. I'm like, I get it. Yeah.
And so I've had several conversations with the owners who are friends.
Yeah.
We've worked together for
you're
13
friends.
years, right? And most of the conversations are them asking, what did we do? How did we offend you? And I can't find the words to explain. It wasn't you at all. It wasn't the company, wasn't the job. It was time freedom, won out over no matter what the job was.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So again, if you're looking at this, I do think that both Dion and I, we worked past the math, right? We were both mathematically, financially free a couple of years earlier, I would think. We got to a point where, yeah, like you say, time freedom went out. And I remember literally, I can vision the floor, the conference room, and where my desk was. Walking that 150 meters, it was a long hallway, back to my desk going, I guess this is what I've been working for all these years. Picked up two family photos, left everything there, out the door. It's crazy.
It's a lot easier than taking out the 9 pistols I had in my office.
Yeah, I was gonna imagine. What are we doing with 9 at the office? Really, is 9 not overkill? I mean, come on.
No, people only commented on the sword. They said the sword was overkill.
Oh, this sword was the over. Oh, there you go. Well, Dion, do me a favor. Where can people find your amazing content?
Right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom.
Awesome.